Howdy and welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. I'm Tim Nichols of MrMaple.com. I got Sean Richardson here, and today we're bringing you 10 of the 20 trees getting listed today on July 7th of 2026. Guys, we list 20 new trees every single Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We call them our 10 at 10s. Today we're going to talk about 10 of those 20 trees. The other 10 trees are in that secret email you can sign up for on MrMaple.com.
And guys, coming up this coming weekend, we have the Mr. Maple Open House, Summer Open House coming up. July 10th and 11th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Cut it off at 12 p.m. Get people out of those hot houses. In the afternoon, they start to get hot. But 2 days of shopping maples in person coming up. So come on out and see us. Great time.
Yeah, we'd love to have you here. If you are coming and you've got orders for pickup, let our office staff know immediately. It just allows us to prepare better for you at the open house. We'll have a little less lines if we already have all that stuff pulled up from the bottom, from our hold areas, and have them all tagged up top ready for you when you show up. Please let us know immediately if you've got anything. Maybe you're buying on this 10 at 10, maybe you're buying on Thursday's 10 at 10. Let us know immediately so we can have those trees pulled up and have them ready for you.
Our first tree today, one of my favorites. I've got several of them myself in my own landscape. Acer Palmatum, Summer Gold.
Man, Summer Gold, this is an amazing yellow. I say pair this with everything. 6 to 8 foot in 10 years. Gets more yellow as the summer goes on. Sunlight is going to be a bright yellow, especially mid to late summer. In shade, it's going to be a lime green yellow. It brightens up any spot in the garden, whether it's shade or sun. Gives good color contrast with your blues of conifers, with your reds of Japanese maples, and helps you see every shade of green out there in the landscape. That yellow really brightens it all up.
I love this tree. Like you say, it brightens up those spots. But man, I love that point during the summer when you get that new summer flush. You start to get that red on top of it. It looks like you got flowers growing out of it. One of my favorite trees of all time.
Guys, Summer Gold, simply amazing, simply beautiful. It is one of the more heat-tolerant yellows for the landscape. As a mid-sized tree, it's easy to use. It may show some burn when you first as it's first getting established. Once it's established in the landscape, it starts taking care of itself, guys. That burn goes away less and less every single year, and you just have a beautiful yellow tree out there in the garden. Grab you a Summer Gold today. Guys, next up, we've got some 1.5 gallons of Acer platanoides Walderseei.
Man, talk about a tree that brings some flash. I love that speckled variegation that it gets, but then those big leaves on top of it add such a great presence in the landscape.
It's the Usigumo of Acer platanoides. The foliage can be almost pure white. I fell in love with this plant. I got it years and years ago, and I was so excited because I'd actually lost my plant when we got Buckholtz Nursery and we had access to a large Acer platanoides Walderseei to graft from. This is such an amazing plant. Just keeps putting on a lot of white color. Again, those big leaves, that white foliage, it's simply amazing. I've never seen seed prolific on this cultivar. I've seen a few small seeds, so I don't think it's going to have the invasive problems that Acer platanoides typically has when they put seed everywhere. This one, max I've ever seen were 10, 15 seeds on a really large old specimen. This is such a beautiful plant and is simply amazing. The white color adds something unique out there in the landscape. I think this is an excellent tree to put out there and pair with some of the, maybe there's other plants, especially if you're in zone 4, that we put on these last 10 at 10s. I think last week we put on a Golden Globe, one of the dwarf yellows. We also put on their Plum Density, one of the narrow red uprights. I think this adds some of that white color out there. Goes great in the Japanese maple garden, but also if you're in one of those colder zones that can't grow a Japanese maple, these Norway maples can handle it.
And I also love a tree that kind of gives you more than just one aspect, not just color or texture. This also gives you a bark interest. I love that, you kind of get this like striping on the bark with it as well. Color, texture, those big leaves, does it all. And great 1.5 gallon sizes. Get one today.
Guys, next up, we have Acer Palmatum Shaina. And we have these both in low grafts, but also in some high graft lollipops, giving you a unique way to have Shaina. You can choose if you want the low graft, dense, compact, rounded form, or if you want to have that up on a standard. Some unique ways to have this selection.
Hey, let's mass plant them. Let's put a high graft and a low graft and see what it does, right? But man, I love Shaina, especially this is one of those trees, and you can see how it's doing it already with the multicolors going on. This is one of those, man, you walk into the greenhouse and you see those reds popping off on top of those darker greens. And then you talk about darker greens, there's different shades of darker green in there. It's just a multitude of color going on all at once.
Now, Shaina is a cherry red in the spring. With sunlight, it can hold its color red pretty well for a witch's broom. In a more shaded situation, you'll get this multitude of colors that we're seeing, especially in high heat settings. Our cold frame's 55% white poly. You can see this right here behind us. It also is something that will end up, if it's 90 degrees outside, it may be 105 in the greenhouses. So high heat, high shade definitely can cause a lot of this multitude of colors. Maybe more maroon for you if you just have it in the sunlight. Guys, compact rounded form, selection found by Dick Wolf of Red Maple Nurseries, kind of a joint introduction with him and Billy Schwartz. Billy Schwartz being one of his apprentices. Dick Wolf named this after Billy Schwartz's daughter, Shaina. Shaina is Hebrew for beautiful, and this red dwarf will definitely be beautiful in your yard. Get
you one today. Okay, guys, coming to you next, we have Acer Palmatum Amber Ghost. Can't go wrong with a Talon Buchholz introduction. But these are a little bit interesting. We've got them in 1.5 gallons, but these are Amber Ghost on a standard.
Yeah, so these have been grafted somewhere around 12 to 16 inches. Amber Ghost is a vigorous red, reddish upright. I mean, it's got some amber colors on top of it, get some greenish red colors in there, especially in some sunlight. Gives you a bright orange red in the fall. It's, to me, an amazing Ghost series type that's super heat tolerant, has a fantastic shape, and we may have some 1 gallons around as well, so we may have some regular 1 gallons as well as some 1.5. So I'll make sure both get listed if we've got those as well.
But I love this one. You talk about that. We got that reticulation going on, especially when you start to get into that middle of the summer where you got that amber reticulation really stands out. And the fact that these are on those standards, I mean, Amber Ghost is already a upright tree. So you're giving yourself all this extra added growth or added space to start with already in these 1.5 gallons.
Yeah, an amazing plant. It's going to be a durable plant, easy to grow, and it's constantly give you a lot of color changes as it keeps putting those amber colors all across it all throughout the season.
Okay, guys, coming to you next, we have Acer Palmatum Satsuki Beni.
Now, many people may know about the Satsuki azaleas, and they're really known for having just some amazing blooms to them. This one kind of has unique leaves that can look like blooms in the spring, especially. You have this really nice green foliage, really large. It can have some red nails around it in the early spring as well, giving that blooming-like appearance. You see that beni name in there, kind of like, suma beni or sumagaki, which means the red, and the Satsuki, which just means like that flower-like appearance. And this tree can definitely do that in a unique way. It's an upright tree, 8 to 10 feet in 10 years, and can give you some great fall colors as well.
Definitely that spring interest, and the leaves, what I love about them is not only does it give you those great colors, but it's got a nice delicate look to it. Nice delicate feeling, going to fit those spots in the garden where you need to add a little bit of that elegance to it, to add a little of that class to it. Great choice for that.
Guys, this is one we try to offer a lot here on Mr. Maple. It's a classic, but it's a beautiful one. Get you one of these today. Gives you that summery feel during the summer. Hits up some fall colors of those oranges and reds. Good mid-sized to large upright Japanese maple that I think underrated, underused, and one that you need in your collection.
Okay, guys, coming at you with Acer Palmatum Yezo Nishiki.
Love Yezo Nishiki. This tree can give you some bright cherry red colors in the spring, some maroon colors in the fall, some brick red colors in between, and it gets you these green veins in the leaf that are just really nice.
That's what I say. These are coming in 1.5 gallons, so a nice, well-established, a little bit larger root system. But that's what stands out to me is, I mean, to me, I almost think, with that green veining in there, and shout out to Corbin with his Reticulation Nation, because you got to give that to him. But man, this just stands out with there's different shades of green going on in that foliage all at the same time.
I like Yezo Nishiki because it gives you some off colors that aren't your typical reds, aren't your typical greens, and it's just something just extra flashy about it. It makes a nice sized cultivar, 8 to 10 foot in 10 years. These are grafted at about 4 to 5 inches that I'm seeing here, these 1.5s. Some good orange reds in the fall as well. This is an amazing cultivar. Again, a classic introduction you don't see in the trade as much today, but is really beautiful.
Okay, guys, coming next, we have Acer Palmatum La Diabla. I always think that you need a tree that's going to provide shade for your smaller dwarf ones. And what I appreciate about this one is you're going to get about 20 foot on this. What, about 10 years or what?
10 to 15 years,
15
yeah,
years?
you'll get close to 20 feet.
So this is going to be one that's going to be one of those taller ones that can create that shaded area for some of your smaller dwarfs.
I like that it's vigorous. I like that its spring interest gives you some of the most intense orange reds that you can imagine on a spring interest. Think something like Yama, but super intense. That's where it gets the name La Diabla, which means the devil woman or the devil girl. This thing is really amazing and really beautiful. I can't help think about this tree, but hearing Matt say the devil chicken. Every time we mention this, he says the devil chicken. But this thing is vigorous, and it gives you the spring interest like no other. The springtime is definitely when the most intense colors are, and in the fall it can give you some really nice oranges and reds as well. To me, one of the most vigorous trees out there. I'll put it against Seiryu. I'll put it against Orange Flame. It gets out there and makes a nice sized tree quickly, which is nice, especially with the spring interest tree.
And you know, the foliage on it, I really appreciate it. The cutting of that foliage is really, really nice. Adds texture to the garden. And like I say, just a big fan of trees that can get up there quickly, provide that shade. And this is a great choice if you have one of those needs. Okay, guys, coming to you, we have Acer Palmatum Arakawa. Again, one of those trees, but we're talking about a cork bark right here.
Yeah, Arakawa differs from Nishikigawa in that Nishikigawa is typically considered the pine bark, where Arakawa has a little more corky alligator-like bark to it. It also barks up at an earlier age than Nishikigawa. So than the typical pine bark, this one typically barks up a year or two earlier. We're already seeing at the graft here, pine bark actually happening at the graft. And this 2-year wood that was originally grafted is already starting to see a little bit of pine barking happening right there. So this will make a pine bark specimen fairly quickly, which that pine bark is unique. It gives you winter interest, but it also makes your tree look much older out there in the landscape. This is great for the landscape to make look like you've got a really old tree out there, but it's especially useful in containers and for bonsai, because that's the idea, is making an appearance that you have this really old tree in the landscape at a younger age. And if you can do that, you make your bonsai, you can paint these pictures a little more adequately and just give this unique piece of art out there. Arakawa does that really well.
And you bonsai folks, get one of these in the ground, and then you've got endless material going forward. You can root or do rooted cuttings of these, and you've got an endless supply of medium for your bonsai going forward. Just a killer tree, and I love seeing these as they're in the landscape and they get a little older, because that cork bark brings the next level.
Now, we always talk about the pine bark on Arakawa, that corky bark. But one of the things that's often underrated with the Arakawa and Nishikigawa are their fall colors. You can get some intense shades of orange red to pink red to bright red in the fall that make this one of the better fall color Japanese maples in the landscape. It's heat tolerant, it's durable, and it's great fall color. So consider this even if you're just looking for a fall color planting. Even if you don't even care about the bark, this is an amazing selection to have.
Okay, guys, come to you next, some beautiful Acer Palmatum, Dr. Brown.
Guys, Dr. Brown is a tree that I truly love. It's one of the best trees with not necessarily the best name. It was named after a guy named Dr. Brown, and it has a browner color to the foliage. So it's one that not really the best name for this, but the color red that this has is very different. It's got some nice green veins. It's a smaller Japanese maple, typically reaching 3 to 4 feet in height by 4 to 5 foot in width in 10 years. Where Dr. Brown shines is some amazing oranges. There's still some idiots out there that use this photo of fall color for Orangeola. And they're still in our photos from Buchholz and doing that. It's kind of deceptive, but it's because Dr. Brown has the orange that people want for fall color with Orangeola. It has just some intense oranges in the fall, and it's so beautiful and so amazing. It's one of the best smaller lace leaves for a garden, one of the best smaller lace leaves for containers. Dr. Brown, horrible name, amazing plant. I love this Japanese maple.
And I know you mentioned it, but just even standing here with these 1 gallons, that green veining through the leaf there, that you see it coming from the eye and those colors coming out. But you talked about the fall color. This is one early spring. When walking into a greenhouse, this one screams out. This one has always, during the spring, pulled me in as well, not during that time. Beautiful tree, beautiful cut leaves. It's one of those, we got them in these low grafts, just beautiful. Get you one today. Okay, guys, coming to you now with Acer Palmatum Winter Red.
Now, Winter Red, we've gotten 2 gallons, XLs, and some 1 gallons. So, a lot of different sizes on this. This is the selection by Foxborough Nurseries in Maryland of a coral bark that gives you some of the reddest color on the bark. Good size, 10 to 12 feet in 10 years. We got this from a plant they donated to the National Arboretum. And this is a beautiful, amazing tree with bright red bark and some electric yellow fall color.
You know, we're really bringing it with the bark interest today, aren't we? I mean, I love that. I love that. But yeah, this is just a great one. And I'm glad you talked about that with that red bark, because I'm sure some people are like, winter red, that looks green to me, Tim. But we're talking about the bark interest there. And that brings winter interest. That allows performance in your garden all season long.
Now, the bark color will actually intensify during the winter months. So as the cold comes in, it will intensify. Another thing that will intensify that color, sunlight. Sunlight, cold temperatures in the winter, that's when you get the best bark interest. So going into the fall, you can even start to get some great red bark color on this. And in the early spring, as this is leafing out with chartreuse green veins, chartreuse green leaves, you can really have some nice two-tone color contrast. Guys, winter red, amazing selection. Love this tree. Great winter interest for that winter landscape. The winter interest trees can give you some just unique things out there in the winter garden. With this, pops of red color, you know, when a lot of other things in the winter landscape are drab, this thing can really show off.
And I think take one of these, pair it up against like a bihu or something like that with some of that yellow in there, really make that landscape pop. And today, just, you know, great choices. If you want to go with that 1 gallon and watch it grow into itself, or these great 2-gallon XLs that are kind of ready for your landscape.
I think last week we listed some Acer Palmatum Winter Orange. I think that'd be another great companion where you have the orange bark and the intense colors of winter red playing off each other out there in the garden. It'll draw people's eyes and make them realize the diversity you have in maples, the diversity you have in your garden on the colors. Definitely some winter interest things that can look similar in the spring, look similar in the fall, but then when the winter drops, all of a sudden you've got a unique color change happening that is quite interesting.
Got to get you one today, folks.
Now, guys, we've got that open house coming up this weekend, 10th and 11th. Let our staff know by noon on Thursday. Please let them know ahead of time because the open house is on Friday. But our very last time is by noon on Thursday. That allows us Thursday evening to finish pulling anything extra that we don't have. If you're coming and you already know that, please let us know immediately. Our open house is always a blast. If you're coming, we'd love to shoot a top 5 with you. We're gonna have tons of cool plants in the greenhouses. Our greenhouses are stacked, they're loaded. We've got tons of trees inside greenhouses, tons of trees outside of greenhouses. We've got tons of 10 gallons. We've got more Japanese maples here than probably you've ever seen before at Mr. Maple. So I think you're gonna have a blast here at open house. That's July 10th and 11th. That's Friday and Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon each day.
And bring those trailers and those trucks, because there's some big ones that we can't ship, and the only way you can get them home is if you pick them up. So bring those trailers, bring those trucks. But guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and every week, every Tuesday, every Thursday, shows every 7 days a week, every day we have something coming out, and we really do appreciate it. It's because of you that we're able to keep doing this every day. So be sure to like, subscribe, share. We say that every time, but we really do appreciate it. And you sharing and getting it out there helps us get it out there more as well.
Y'all take care.
God bless.
And have a great day.